Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do something incredibly useful, which is to do currency exchange, get the currency exchange rates between in Google Sheets, and you can of course Google them. For example, 1 USD to euro, and you might get 0.97 euro is 1 USD. But if you want to do it in a more systematic way, and potentially be very efficient with it, Google Sheets has a function called Google Finance, and basically you can use the Google Finance function, and the general form is to say put in currency like this, and then you put a bar, and then you put the source currency and then the target currency. So for example, if I want to go 1 USD to euro, the command would be equals Google Finance, and then parentheses, and then put in quotes currency bar USD euro. Now let's say you want to do one, let's say 1 British pound. So that's 1 British pound is GBP to let's say Japanese yen. So what we would do again is it would say Google Finance, and you would put a currency like this, and you put the source currency, which is GBP, and then the target currency is JPY, like that, and then you'd close it, and then this would get you the conversion. So for example, 1 British pound to Japanese yen. Okay, you can see the currency is 196, so it's basically, yeah, it's very accurate. I don't know if this rate is from the previous day or if it's the live rate. I honestly don't know. But anyway, I think this is quite accurate. And then let's try to do one more example. Let's say you want to go from Singapore dollars to let's say Colombian pesos. Okay, wow, so this just updated. Maybe this is live, I don't know, or in the last 5 minutes or so. Okay, so Singapore dollars, again, you can copy this command. So be Google Finance bar currency, and then Colombian pesos, that's COP, is the code for that. And then if we want to go to, SGD is the code for Singapore dollars, and then COP is the Colombian pesos. So 1 Singapore dollar is worth 3,187 Colombian pesos. And let's do that again here. 1 Singapore dollar to Colombian pesos. Okay, so that's 3187 here, 3187. So to me, that's incredibly useful. Now, this is the general way you do it, and it's fine to manually type the currency if you're doing it just like one time. It's not a big deal. But if you want to be more general, instead of having to type SGD or EUR or USD or GPY, etc., I'll include a CSV that you can basically copy, and this is a general way to get it. So for example, let's say the currency, the source currency is SGD, and the target currency is JPY, so that's Japanese yen. So what I did is Google Finance a currency, and what this does is generalize it. So for example, this basically would do the equivalent of doing, what this does is the equivalent of doing this. SGD to JPY. You can see it's exactly the same. But this one here, it doesn't explicitly have the SGD and GPY. This actually just does the uses a formula basically to concatenate and C17 that basically takes this is C17 and this is D17, and it does the equivalent. It basically concatenates, but it does it as kind of like a variable. Okay, and just to prove my point, let's say I wanted to change, so from euro to JPY, and again, just to prove it, 1 euro to JPY. Okay, so that's 162, and it changes. Okay, so let's go back here. So I think this is incredibly useful. So what this does is it will give you the exchange rate for one of the source currency to the target currency. So this means 1 Singapore dollar is worth 115 Japanese yen. 1 euro is worth 1.03 USD. 1 euro is worth 0.82 British pounds, and so on. And let's say 1 Japanese yen is worth 0.006 euro, and so on. Now, that's for one, but let's say you have 100 Singapore dollars. So 100 of the source, this column here basically. So what I would do is I would take this column and I multiply it by this. So this here, it does E17 times F17, so it multiplies. Similarly, it takes, for this one, 100 euros is worth 103 USD. So this means 1 USD is worth 4,367 Colombian pesos, and 100 USD is worth that much in Colombian pesos. So I think that's a very useful thing. Now, I'm going to show you something also very useful. It's historical data. So this will get you the data that's live. I don't know if it's like the last 5 minutes or the last day, but historical can be basically it gives you the data from historical times. So let's say even the last 10 years. I don't know how far back it goes, but you can modify the command to have so you have the currency bar and then the source currency and the target currency, and then you have a comma and then you put price and then you have date. So the date would be year, month, day. So what this says is that it will give you the historical conversion between USD and euros. So 1 USD. So basically what this says is that from January 5th, 2014, 1 USD was worth 0.73 euros. So that's how you can get historical data. And then if you want, again, part of the reason I think it's so useful to generalize, again, this is a way where I could let me show you here. Okay, so I want to give you one more example. Let's say we wanted to do, let's say 2022, let's say the 5th, that's May, and okay. So let's do, let's get the data for 1 Singapore dollar is worth how many euros? Singapore dollar is euros, and then for the year is 2022, and 5 is May, and then 22 is the 22nd. So this will get you the historical. So historically, 1 euro, excuse me, historically 1 Singapore dollar is worth 0.68 euros. That was May 22nd, 2022. And let's look right now. 1 SGD to euro. Okay, right now it's 0.71. 2 years ago it was 0.68. So this can be very, very useful. And one thing to note about this command, if you want to get historical, is that it will give you 2 columns and 2 rows. So it'll give you the date, the close, and this. And to me, that's slightly annoying. But what you can do is use the index command. So if I want to get this data, so this is the first row, this is the second, excuse me, this is the first column, second column, and this is the first row, second row. So you can use the index command. So you can add index, I-N-D-E-X, and then you can add, give it, I believe it's the first, you give it the row and then the column, I believe. You'd have to, it could be the row or the column, I don't remember. But anyway, so let's do this again here. So I'm gonna get it, the index, and the index will get that specific value. It gets that specific value, which is this, okay? And that's what I did here. In this one here, I got USD, and I wanted to do some historical research. For example, what was 1 USD worth in 2014 for January 1st, January the 5th. This is February the 5th, March the 5th, and so on. And this gets the historical exchange rate between USD and Singapore dollars. And that's incredibly useful. And then this is the actual command. And I'll export this CSV and you can modify it. And yeah, so I think this is very, very useful. And then let's say you wanted to compare USD to Chinese yuan or renminbi. So the year was this. All right, so let's put this here. Okay, so basically what this says is that the exchange rate between this to this, so 1 USD to Chinese yuan, 2014, that's January 1st, 2015, January 1st, and so on, all the way up to 2025, January 1st. And this gives you the exchange rate between 1 USD to Chinese yuan. So you can see it fluctuated between 6.044 and most recently it's 7.29. And I'm just curious how far it'll go back. I'm going to try, let's see if I can go to 1980. I don't know if it will go to 1980, but let's just see. Okay, and you got to make sure it matches the, yeah, there we go. Okay, so I guess it doesn't have data from 1980. Oh, wait a minute. That could be the mistake. I didn't put the currency. Okay, so return no data. Maybe that, maybe it only goes back like 10 years or something. Let's see if it can go back all the way back to 2000. Does it have 2000 data? How about 2010? Uh, hmm. Wonder why it does that. Okay, so maybe it only goes back 10 years. I don't know why it doesn't have the data for previous, but Google would need to pay for that data probably, or has to store it, and I guess, but anyway, so maybe it only goes back about 10 years, but that's okay. I think it's still pretty useful. Okay, so as a recap, in this video, I showed you how you can get the current exchange rates or one of the most current exchange rates, and you can use Google Sheets to convert between currencies. And the general formula is basically to go from, I'll rewrite it here. So it's the source currency to then source currency, target currency. You put them right next to each other. So this is the example, USD and Euro, like that. And then if you wanted to change it, again, like this goes from the Singapore dollars to COP, which is Colombian pesos. Okay, so this is an incredibly useful thing with Google Sheets. You can use Google Finance to get exchange rates, and you can also get historical rates. And I'll include a link so you can download a CSV to basically, and let me show you how you can do it. So I'm gonna export this as a CSV and re-import it. Okay, so I made a new sheet, and what you're gonna do is click on import, and then you're gonna upload from your computer. Okay, and basically, yeah, you're gonna have it replace the spreadsheet detect automatically or have comma. It says a comma, so have it like that. And so this is how you can do it yourself. So what it did do was you're going to need to modify this a little bit, but okay, so for some reason it didn't output correctly, but you can just modify it to where like this here. So this is 39, 39. You're gonna have to modify that. So it's 39, 39, 39. Okay, so that will give you, give me a second here. So you can modify this command, I39. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so instead of I39, it should be here, it should be C39. This should be D39. And then the date would be F39. Okay, so I don't know exactly how it's gonna export, but this is how you can do it. Okay, so I found the mistake. I put the wrong columns in there. Okay, so the basic command is going to be like that, and you're just going to have to modify it based on the columns, but for the most part it should be good. And then you're going to have to modify the commands like this, but I'll try to export it so that you can modify it relatively easily. Okay, so this was a video on how you can convert between currencies and in Google Sheets using Google Finance command. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.